I guess I did not. I'm like, well, I don't see us. Where are we? Good morning.
Good morning.
Were you dancing to the little jingle?
I
See,
sure
see,
was.
I have I've caused you to do the same thing. Every time I hear the music, I'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's that time. It's that time. How are you this morning?
I am great. Thank you. How about yourself?
I am well. I am well. I am sleepy, but I am here and I am well.
Uh-oh.
I know. Good morning, the crafty coder. Good morning. And good morning, those in the room. Let me see. Wait, let me. This one little banner down here, invite people to join in. That is always in my way. I don't understand the purpose of that. I mean, I guess I do, but whatever. All right, all right. Oh, look, I see something in the background. I see
Hey,
some. I love it. I love it.
thank you.
I love it. There she is. Good morning, the crafty coder. I'm sorry. Good morning, the healthcare business consultant. And yes, ma'am, we will have her as our special guest next week. Um, giving you the early tea.
Okay.
So she'll talk to us a little bit about something that she has going on. Um, Good morning, Miss Vicky. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Okay, let me get this started. See, I didn't even put the comments, my comments over in the comments section. You see what I'm saying? I just didn't get all caught up that quick. You know, it don't take much. It don't take much at
Yeah.
all. Well, anyway, I'll get them in there. Welcome to our Saturday morning tea, where we discuss health information, news, education, certification tips, entrepreneurship. We got some other kind of stuff we're gonna talk about today, but um, being bullies, reacting to bullies, uh, what else? Just all the things, all the things. Where the money reside, where the
Uh-huh.
money reside. Yes, I am Clarice Warner. I'm the girl with the pearls, the founder and education director of the Professional Reimbursement Network LLC, where coding education is key. And let me ask you, do you know what it takes to be a certified marketable medical coder? Do you? Do you really? Well, before I introduce my co host, let me share with you information on a free, yes, I said free 99 email course on the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start and scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder. All right, all right. So if you are joining us via Clubhouse, as I know some of you are, you will find the link for the information or to get more information about the 5 steps to become a certified marketable medical coder at the top of the house. If you are joining us via YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, please check out the video description for the link. I know it's a lot of information there, but trust me, it's down there. And you can click on there. Good morning, Shay, and welcome and welcome. Uh, so joining me today, as usual, yay, is my co-host, the illustrious Mr. Jesse, the registered trademark, put some respect on his name, the coding nurse. Sir, introduce yourself and tell the folks all about you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse. I live in Philadelphia. I've been a nurse for a very long time. I transitioned into medical coding in 2014. During the pandemic in 2020, I created a company called the Coding Nurse LLC, where I help nurses and other healthcare professionals with clinical backgrounds transition into the wonderful world of HIM.
All right, all right. And how's that working for you, sir? How's that working?
It's coming along. It's coming
Okay,
along.
okay. Look, get the mic out the view. Okay, it's coming along. Good, good. Good, good. So let's see. We got a lot of things to unpack today. But first, let me just say, um, if you are in Clubhouse and you want to join in and add to the conversation, please raise your hand. Don't be shy. We'll bring you up to the stage. Remember, your opinion matters and is welcome here. So we believe in conversation. Let's talk about this
Definitely.
stuff. We bring these
Definitely.
topics for a reason. We want to know what your opinions are related to this. For my Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn friends, you all know what to do. You all use the chat. You use it all the time. I love the chat. If you have a specific question, however, only thing I ask is that you type Q first, so we know it is an actual question, and we won't miss it when we're going through and looking at the comments that are happening. So let's get into it. So, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. And today we are asking the question: are you ready for the interview? Really?
Mhm.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready? But before we get started, let me provide a church announcement regarding some coding guidance that I bumped into this week. Yes. Okay. Wait a minute. Let me find my thing about the church announcements. Hold up. Where did I do? Where is it? Where banner? Okay. Church announcements. Church announcements. Okay. So this week I ran into an article about HCC coding and lab values. And I guess folks are, for some reason, using lab values to code for the diagnoses as if they exist. This article was published in the Lippman Education series by Rose T. Dunn. And she talked about, I guess she had had a conversation with a reader about how they felt that Medicare Advantage organizations' approach to coding was, for lack of a better term, gaming the system. They're doing some things that they shouldn't do. And one of the things that they were doing was pretty much using the lab values to code for the chronic conditions or the conditions as if um, they existed without any type of linkage terms, without any specific diagnoses documented by the provider, without any of that. It was, I guess it was, the call was, if you see an abnormal lab result, automatically you can code that. And we as coders, seasoned coders who've been in this game for a long time know, I mean, my eyebrows went, I think, way on almost to the hairline. Like, what? What is happening here? So I just wanted to remind you all of a couple of things. First, in our official guidelines for coding and reporting, our Bible, if you will, in section 3B, where it talks about abnormal findings, such as laboratory findings, x ray, pathologic, and other diagnostic results. Those abnormal findings are not coded and reported unless the provider indicates there's clinical significance. If the findings are outside the normal range and the attending provider has ordered other tests to evaluate the condition or prescribe treatment, it is appropriate to ask, that query the provider thing, ask the provider whether the abnormal finding should be added. Please note, this differs from coding practices in the outpatient setting for coding encounters for diagnostic tests that have been interpreted by a provider. That's a little different. Okay. Section 4 says codes that describe symptoms and signs as opposed to diagnoses are acceptable for reporting purposes when a diagnosis has not been established or confirmed by the provider. So there's also chapter 18 in our ICD-10, which symptoms, signs, and abnormal clinical and laboratory findings not elsewhere classified codes. Those are R00 through R99. You can go through there, and they may provide you with information and codes for symptoms. Now, all the symptoms are not there, but there are quite a few. But as I was reading this, and she talked more and more about this this conundrum, if you will. She brought out the code of ethics, and I said, well, wait a minute, hold up, let's make sure folks understand that we are bound under a code of ethics. AHIMA has one, and the AAPC has one. Today, I'm just going to talk about AHIMAs. I may slide the AAPCs in next week. So, the one thing is that the guidelines expect coding and clinical documentation improvement specialists to, quote, do the right thing. Always do the right thing. And our employers can count on us to ensure that coding is accurate and compliant, and that the coding practices will not create problems for the organization with the Department of Justice and the Office of Inspector General, if you are doing the right thing. So let me show you here. If you are not familiar, the AHIMA Code of Ethics. And I just want to talk briefly. One, the Code of Ethics serves 6 purposes: to promote high standards of HIM practice, summarizes broad ethical principles that reflect the profession's core values, establishes a set of ethical principles that I'll talk about in a minute to be used to guide decision-making and actions, establishes a framework for professional behavior and responsibilities when professional obligations conflict or ethical uncertainties arise, provides ethical principles by which the general public can hold the HIM professional accountable, and mentors practitioners new to the field to HIM's mission, values, and ethical principles. There are 13 principles. The first one, advocate, uphold, and defend the consumer's right to privacy and the doctrine of confidentiality in the use and disclosure of information. Put service and the health and welfare of persons before self-interest, and conduct oneself in the practice of the profession so as to bring honor to oneself, their peers, and to the health information management profession. Preserve, protect, and secure personal health information in any form or medium, and hold in the highest regard health information and other information of a confidential nature obtained in an official capacity, taking into account the applicable statutes and regulations. Refuse to participate in or conceal unethical practices or procedures, and report such practices. Use technology, data, and information resources in the way they are intended to be used. Advocate for appropriate uses of information resources across the healthcare ecosystem. Recruit and mentor students, peers, and colleagues to develop and strengthen professional workforce. Hey, I think we're going to do that today. Represent the profession to the public in a positive manner. I think we do that every week. Advance health information management knowledge and practice through continuing education, research, publications, and presentations. Look at us. We done checked off several boxes just on what we do. Perform honorably Health Information Management Association responsibilities, either appointed or elected, and preserve the confidentiality of any privileged information made known in any official capacity. State truthfully and accurately one's credentials, professional education, and experience. Facilitate interdisciplinary collaboration in situations supporting ethical health information principles. And last but certainly not least, respect the inherent dignity and worth of every person. So I just wanted to remind us that we have these principles that we are bound by as health information professionals. Again, the AA, that was AHIMA's Code of Ethics. The AAPC also has them. So when you're faced with some of these challenges and questions and things that just, I always say, don't look right, don't feel right, don't smell right, always refer back and make sure, you can do that sniff test. You can do that test like, wait a minute, I don't think this right. Let me go look in the guidance. Let me follow up with what I need to do as it relates to my code of ethics. Mr. Jesse, did you want to mention anything on the church announcements today?
I don't know what the answer is because this has been going on forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, well, I do know why. It's because coders don't want to, and coding management does not want to stand up to these executives who are pressuring people to come up with money.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it all, because everything comes down to money.
Where the money reside, where the money reside.
And it's just people need to have, these coders need to have some integrity, and they need to have a backbone. They need to say no.
So should that one of them ethics be have a backbone
It
and say
really
no?
should. It really should, because the thing is, you know, what we do is not, it can't be taken lightly. You know, there is a lot of accuracy that has to be involved with health information, because you can alter somebody's life with just one code
Mm-hmm.
once it gets submitted.
That's true.
And so you have to really stand on what you know to be the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't, and other people who are outside of HIM, they don't understand it, but it's our job to understand, to explain and enforce the rules, and say no, I'm not going to code that.
That's right. You are absolutely right. I totally agree. So again, I just wanted to bring that to your knowledge, put that top of mind. If you are ever faced with a situation where, and don't forget to document, document that conversation. And as I've shared with folks before, have some documentation at your job, but have some documentation away from your job as well.
Well, one more thing about documentation, your documentation will always save the day.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a situation with an employer, and it was along, similar lines. Excuse me. They wanted certain things to be coded, and I'm like, as a coder and as a nurse, I couldn't do it. And so, and this was a conversation that I had with the senior vice president. So I ended up um, being almost like forced to resign.
Mm.
So which I did, but I documented, and my documentation is why I was able to receive unemployment,
Yep.
even though I had quit, because it's kind of hard to quit and get unemployment, but I
Right.
was able to,
Right.
because of my documentation.
Right. Right. That you have to make sure that you're documenting things. Okay.
And in my documentation, I named names. If I had addresses, I'd have put that in there too.
Not the addresses though. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's see. So today we want to talk a little bit about, or want to ask the question, are you ready for the interview? So let's set up the scenario. So you've gone through your coding courses, whatever coding courses you've got, coding courses you've gone through. You've gotten your credentials. You've gotten some skills. You're ready. You found the job, if you will. You have applied. You got a call for an interview. Are you ready for that interview? Do you really, really think you're ready? So today, Mr. Jesse will bless us with interviewing 101. I'll turn it over to Mr. Jesse.
Thank you. Um, Most of the information that I'm going to talk about comes from the website Career Plug, and I can send you the link to post, Clary.
Okay.
And they have data from 2021, and in 2021, 203,298 new jobs were posted. The total applicants in 2021 was 5,235,789 people. So that's 203,000 jobs for 5.2 million applicants. Now, if you just simply do the math, you know that you have a lot of people who are applying for jobs, and most of the time for the same job. So you have to have things on your resume to stand out, to make you a candidate, especially now when we have everything is so tech based. We have these applicant tracking software programs that scan your resume, and sometimes you don't even make the cut because your resume has not even been passed on because of the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that your resume, first of all, is relevant and it is reflective of the skills you have, and more importantly, for the job that you want, because your skills have to really match the job, because that's why they're going to look for you. They're not going to that if you have to do rocket science, they're not going to pick somebody with a culinary degree. So you have to have the relevant skills they're looking for, and you want to spotlight that. And when it comes to coding, most of the time, people do, but you just have to, like, I didn't really realize how important your resume is until because I thought I was doing a good job, and I even had a recruiter look over my resume. But when I got a resume expert, and she is an expert, when I got her to do my resume, this is like maybe 2 years ago, and when she really explained to me why you have different resumes and why you have, now I have three resumes that are in rotation. I have three separate email addresses on, I have three accounts on Indeed, and because it has to be relevant and experience. It has to be something pertaining to what it is you want to get into. So that's just, a little backdrop. And this website goes into detail about different industries. And in healthcare, the views to applicant rate is 2%. So that's really not very good.
Right.
So that means that only 2% of the applications are being seen. So that just really echoes the point that you really have to have the skills highlighted for that position. You really, really do. That's just really important. Then when you go down, it goes to applicant to interview conversion rate, and for healthcare, it's 22%. So that means that 22% of the applicants will receive an interview. So that's a little more than 1 in 5.
Hmm.
So you, so when you farm that out, to because if you're on LinkedIn and you're a premium member, LinkedIn, and when you apply for a job or when you see a job, they can tell you how many applicants have applied for the job,
Mm-hmm.
and you will be surprised at the number of people who apply for the same position you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen I've seen a job and it's like 500 people have applied.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people for one or two positions. It's a lot. So you know that they have to do very heavy screening to just see the people who they really find desirable. So that's why it is really important. Then it says the interview to hire conversion rate for healthcare is 14%.
Hmm.
So that's even less than 1 in 5
Right.
that actually go from interview to a job offer. And there the whole interview process is something that is really within your control, whether people realize it or not. Like you can make sure that you have the requisite skills. You can make sure that your resume speaks to the job. Like, I used to think that you could just have this one, generic resume. You just apply, apply, apply. No, you can't. You have to do some tweaking. You have to do some research. You have to change some bullets around. You might have to add some bullets to your resume, or even take some off. Change the positions around to highlight the relevant skills that you have, because you have to do something to get somebody to lay eyes on your resume to even get an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get an interview, and I came about this topic because as I teach, coding to students, and people think that once you get a certification, that's just it. Like the whole world's gonna come knocking on your door the next day, and it's not the case.
It's the golden ticket. That's not.
It just gets you into the party,
That's right.
but you got to learn how to dance.
All right. All right.
And and people think, oh, I got this, and I'm not making light, because these credentials are not easy to obtain. You put
Exactly.
a lot of work into obtaining them.
That's right.
To be proud, but at the same time, you realize, or you should realize, that's just the price of admission. Now you have to learn how to sell yourself. You really have to prepare for an interview. And a lot of people, and then nowadays, there's really just no excuse because there's so much information right at your fingertips
You're right.
that you can learn and you can research. Like you should research top 5 HR questions because most of the time, especially in HIM, for larger companies, you go through the HR process first. You go through an HR interview, then you go to um, a department interview. So you have to, and how you prepare for an HR interview is totally different than how you prepare for your actual department that you're going to work in because there's two different skill sets. They want to know, will you fit into the company culture?
Yep.
Forget your skill set.
Right.
Are you going to fit in? And you have to know that first and foremost, you have to do research on your future employer.
On that company, you got to know what that culture is and what that looks like.
You have to. You have to go to the website. Click on the about. Learn what their mission statement is. Learn what their core values are, and look up current and go on their social media. Look and see what they have going on. If they, like I came across, I helped somebody prepare for an interview and come to find out their company back in January, they were voted one of the best places to work by this outside independent agency. That's something that you would want to mention because that's going to show the HR person, not so much in a department interview, but that's going to show the HR person that, hey, this person did do some research.
And can I interject? And
sure.
I think even before you submit that resume or that application, you want to look at that company because you may decide they don't align with who you are and your values and what you come to the table with, the type of culture that you want to be immersed in. So again, that is an excellent suggestion to make sure that you are researching that organization. Go ahead. Sorry.
And along those same lines, like you want to also go back to Google and like the most common HR questions, and they're going to ask you, tell me about yourself. You have to have what people have now termed an elevator pitch. You have to be able to describe yourself in less than 2 minutes. And when they say, tell me about yourself, they don't want to hear that you grew up on a small farm in Kansas. And, you like Barry Manilow and the beach.
Barry White. No kidding. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
So, when they say, tell me about yourself, they want to know what do you have? Like, what skills do you have? Like, you want to say that I am a hardworking, goal-setting, articulate contributor.
All right, that's some tea right there. Y'all get that tea? Y'all write that down.
Because you want to make it relevant to what it is you're trying to the skills you're trying to convey for this position. And you also want to let them know, like, because they're going to ask you, tell me about yourself. You want to have it down to 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. And you want to get in, get out, have it. So you don't want to sound like you're reading off a cue card, but you want it to come across naturally. So it's like, okay, this person really knows who they are. So you want to definitely have that. Then they're going to ask you what are your strengths. So you want to know what your strengths are. Because if you want to talk, if you're trying to get into HIM, any job in HIM, you have to be detailed.
That's right.
You have to be able to work independently. You have to be able to collaborate and work with others. And then when they ask you, what is a weakness? People always get this wrong. You don't want to say for a weakness, I'm not a morning person.
I swear the tea is spilling today.
What you want to do is you want to take a positive and you want to make that a weakness.
That's right. That's right.
You want to say, I am so I am so committed to excellence that sometimes I have to step back and and I have to step back and realize that I have to be productive and still get the job done.
That's
That's
right.
who's gonna have a problem with that? That's great.
That's
That's a
great.
great problem to
That's a
have.
win-win. That's a win-win.
Exactly.
Let me see. In the comments, Latoya says again, don't use the same resume for every job you're applying for. She mentioned when they asked you, I guess, about you or how many children you have. You don't need to talk about that at all.
Mm-mm.
And then refer back to the resume.
Definitely.
And then the crafty coder. And when you say that you pay attention to details and in caps, make sure you spell everything correctly. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead.
So those those little tidbits that we just talked about, that will definitely get you through the first round. If you talk about the company culture, if you talk about, oh, well, I just saw that you created an account, or you have an account now that's worth $2 billion. That's going to be impressive, because that will separate you, because everybody doesn't know that information. Everybody that you're trying to compete against, they're not going to do that diligence. They're not going to go and dig that far. So you need something that's going to set you apart, and show that you can contribute to
Mm-hmm.
this organization, and you're going to, because being prepared will just do so much. So that will get you through to your and you want to have questions. Like, you don't ever want to be in an interview with anybody and they say, "Do you have any questions?" No.
I'm ready to
You
go.
right. At at the very least, you want to ask, what does the onboarding process look like? And then, how does this company define success?
Mm, those are good. Those are good.
At the very least.
At the very least, if nothing comes top of mind, those are two that you could always have in your pocket.
And then when you get to your department interview with the people who are ultimately going to make the decision, then you want to ask them the same thing. You want to ask them, how am I going to be onboarded in this role? And how am I going to be set up for success?
Mm,
How does this department measure productivity?
mm. Do you all provide professional development?
Exactly. Because it shows that you have given some thought. It
Mm-hmm.
shows that you're really serious about coming on board to a company. Like, because just like you have to sell it to them, they have to sell it to you.
Exactly. Exactly.
And if they say, "Oh, we don't have any professional development," okay, well, let me see
That may
what.
be a deal breaker. Exactly. So again, this is a relationship that you and that employer. That's a relationship. Probably the one that you're going to spend a lot of time in. You're going to spend at a minimum 40 hours a week if it's a regular full-time job. So you got to know what you getting involved in. What are the deal breakers?
Exactly. So you definitely want to. If you don't take anything else away from what we're talking about today, go and Google at least the top 10 HR interview questions, and you will see they'll say, "Tell me about yourself." And some websites might even have some suggested scripts
Mm-hmm.
that you can tweak. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Those are going to be the top three that everybody's going to ask you. And then sometimes they may ask, tell me about a situation when someone was dissatisfied with you.
Those are, and
You,
that's a thing that they do a lot. They ask a lot of scenario
right.
based questions, and there's research studies that show primarily the reason why, because you get a lot of information based on the way they set it up, and your responses. It will provide a lot of information about you, about who you are as an employee, your work ethic. I mean, it provides a whole lot of information. So they ask lots of those types of questions.
So when it comes to those kind of situations, they want to, they use what they call the STAR method. And STAR is an acronym, and it means situation, task, action, and result. So the situation is set the scene and give necessary details of your exam. Task, describe what your responsibility was in that situation. Action, explain exactly what steps you took to address it. And the result, share what outcomes your actions achieved. So you can easily, so if you already know, or if you already have this information, you can craft a scenario
Mm-hmm.
and have it in your pocket ready. I had I had a very difficult doctor who, wasn't answering my queries. You could just, let's, for example. So what did you do? I reached out to him, and, I explained how important the query results are to revenue, and how it's important for him to document so he can keep his money. Let's just say that's what you did. What is the result? Well, he now, my query response rate from him, increased to 80%.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a whole scenario with a whole lot of information
Yep.
about you as a critical thinker, you as being strategic on what you needed to do in order to advance the organization. So you are about the culture and advancing the organization and being a resource and being helpful, all that stuff in just that sentence.
And you know how to problem solve.
Exactly.
So that's really all I have. I mean, that, you know, we spilled some tea with that right there.
You did. I hope y'all had some paper. Look, y'all know I did. Y'all know I got my paper in my book. Yes, yes. So this was great information. I don't know if anybody. I'm looking to see if I'm checking all the things for while you were speaking. I was trying to be the comment moderator, if you will, um, in the background. But I think this was really valuable information for those of you who are out there looking for and wondering, I had an interview, I didn't get the call back, and it's something else. And I recommend you don't always get it, but depending on if you get a name and a number, you actually talk to somebody, you can always call back. So if you weren't successful in your interview and in landing that particular position, sometimes it's good to go back and just ask the question, get some additional feedback. People will tell you, hey, this, that, and the third, and not necessarily about uh why you didn't necessarily get the position, but you want feedback on how you interviewed, how you came across. Were there things that may have been missing in my resume that you would recommend for future, have build those relationships. That's networking, because another position may come, if that's the place that you really want to be, another position may come across, and so now you are armed with additional information that will help you for the next one, particularly with that organization. So reach out and just ask the questions. Hey, when they tell you, if they call you, if you get a letter, hopefully there's somebody's name on the letter. But you've talked to somebody, even when you talk to them, me personally, anybody that I interact with in a professional capacity, oftentimes I'm looking them up on LinkedIn. We gon' connect on LinkedIn for whatever reason, because I want to see, I'm looking to whatever, and then I can reach out. Hey, I interviewed with you, even if you can't get an email or a phone number. You have some. Oftentimes there are additional ways to find people and connect with them. And you could just send a message. Hey, I interviewed with you on XYZ position, and I was wondering if you could share, um, you know, some helpful information for me in advancing, or how was my resume skills. Be candid. I'm trying to get information. I'm trying to be the best me I can be out here in these job seeking streets. So ask them to provide the assistance, especially in that HR one, because that's that first hurdle. um that's the one that you can really kind of prepare yourself beforehand. That people don't, to Mr. Jesse's point, people don't really think about that. Looking at the organization, Googling the organization and finding out what their culture is about and finding about all of that information. How did you present? Were you just reading off the cue cards? Did you sound, let them help you for free because you just had the interview with them. Let them help you. The Crafty Coder says, I send a follow-up email during the waiting period to say thank you for taking time to interview me, and then I tell them why I would be the best fit. Yeah, that's some additional eyes and ears on my name. Let me keep me top of mind. Definitely. All right. Yeah, she said the medical world is big, but it's small, and you have to stand out. Yeah, people have to know who you are, where you stand, et cetera, et cetera. We had this little platform. When I was seeing some things that's out there in these internet streets, I was like, did they hear about that from us? I always wondered, did they hear about that from us? Did somebody share? I hope they did.
So in Clubhouse, Latoya had a comment.
Okay.
There are a lot of coders with CPCA can't get a job, which frustrates me. So, Latoya, I can speak personally for students of mine who are newly certified. Their interview skills are not up to par. You have to, and it's okay to be nervous because the nervousness just means you want to do a good job. But so many people tank in an interview. I've also sat in on interviews, and I'm like, are you okay?
Are you about to fall out of here?
Exactly. And I get being nervous, but if you prepare, if you have done, like I said, if you've done the research, if you have a scenario in mind, if you know what your strengths are, what you're going to speak to, what your weaknesses are, how you're going to turn that strength into a weakness, if you have prepared, that will help alleviate a lot of your stress.
Mm-hmm.
Just being prepared. And so I find that a lot of people, a lot of new coders just don't interview well. And also, when you are newly certified trying to get a job, you have to network. And anybody that has a CPCA, you should be involved in your local AAPC chapter in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, sir.
Hands down.
Yes, sir.
Hands down. If you don't do any more than, because they don't have in-person meetings anymore. But because let me tell you, when I took my my CPMA exam, I was at this location, and the person who was the proctor, I could tell that he wasn't feeling well. So I said, "Do you?" Because I got there early. I was like, "Do you need to help you set up?" He was like, "Oh my God!" He said, "I wanted to ask you, but I didn't." I said, "Oh," I said, "I got it." So I set up the tables. I don't know what that man did to my scorecard, but I took that exam on Sunday. I had my results Monday evening. I had never had that happen. Okay. I've always had to wait until Thursday at the earliest. But he clearly did something to put I was at the top of I was the first one they scanned. I had to be. Had to be. But that just goes to show you how you have to stand out. You have to get involved. And now with virtual meetings, it's even easier. You can just go and pop into the chat because you cannot be afraid to ask for help. Listen, I'm newly certified. Does anybody have any opportunities? Do they know of any opportunities for a CPCA? You have got to be okay with putting yourself out there. You have to.
Couple things. With the newly certified, oftentimes somewhere you have to know that you know that you know that you know your stuff and bring that level of confidence into the room with you or into the video screen with you. You've achieved this feat. You've passed the certification exam. You've gotten the necessary information. Be confident in that. People at, well, I think maybe, well, yeah. What is that? If you're not confident that you know what you know, why would I feel that you would be confident to do anything for me? in my organization. Why would I, where that level of confidence has to come shining through. The other thing is, you mentioned, do not be afraid to ask for help. Folks need to get that is one of the things, and I will be the first to admit I'm not one that asks for help. I'll figure it out. I'll do it. And then eventually it's like, you could have saved 5, 6, 12 hours if you would have just called. My husband tells me all the time, really, is that what you're going to do? You're going to try to build this whole thing knowing that I know how to build stuff, but you just going to do it? Okay, well, you go ahead. And when I should just be like, you know what? Why don't you just, would you do so and so and so? I need your help. Oh my God, I would get so much accomplished in many more ways if I just say, you know what? I need your help. And to that point, I need you all's help. We need to make sure that people are putting their eyes on this information. Share this information. Let folks know we're here every Saturday on Clubhouse, so they can come into the room. Let folks know we're here every Saturday on LinkedIn, Facebook, and on YouTube to share this information. We're giving you quality information. For what? Yeah. Free 99 and your time. That's all it is.
And nobody's going to give it to you like we are.
Like we give people, it straight, no chaser, all the tea. All the tea.
and tea you can use, information that you can use on Monday morning.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
And Shay has a comment on Clubhouse. She said, agree with Jesse, it's all in the interview. I haven't passed my CPC yet, and I got a coding job because I did well in the interview. I didn't have the experience for the job I applied for, but the manager recommended me for an entry-level position at the job/hospital.
Good.
Exactly.
See, I mean, they recognize something in you. You brought your level of confidence of what it is that you did. No, yeah, I may not have gotten this over this hurdle yet, but I am still plugging away, and I'm actively seeking and going to get it. In the meantime, I need you to help me furnish that dream. Yes. Yes. The healthcare consultant says share. Crafty Coder says no chaser at all. Yes. Latoya says that's right. That's great, Shay. It was the confidence. Absolutely. It was the confidence. The healthcare business consultant, I always learn something new, taking notes. Yes. And the Crafty Coder says, congratulations to Shay. Congratulations. Yes. That's what's up. So this was good. This was really, really good. I'm trying to think, did I get everybody? Anybody hands raised? No, nobody's jumping in. But they're on the comments, so we still have a conversation. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Engagement.
It's the engagement. Let's talk and just be yourself. That's right, Vicky. Just be yourself, because you can only be the best you that you can be.
Exactly.
Nobody can. Wait a minute. I'm about to butcher the whole Dr. Seuss thing that I love. It was his birthday recently.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I bought this. When people graduate, I give them the all the places you'll go. That's what I give to graduates. And then there was a Seussisms, and so it has like all different quotes. And it was like, oh, it's something about being your. I'm gonna butcher it. Never mind. It'll come to me. Oh, wait a minute. So when are we going? This is for you, Mr. Jesse. So when are we going to do our association? Look at her peeking through. We need to sit down. We need to have a church conference, and maybe we can put some feelers out. Bring some folks together. We definitely won't start the planning process in a public forum. That will be something that we discuss behind closed virtual doors. But yeah, I think we need to get that out. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, yeah, Mr. Jesse did say we need to pull this together. So yeah, there's definitely, and provide an opportunity for for us to share more in-depth information, where, yes, we're giving this, but this could have went a several step further. We could have actually, let's pull out our resumes. Let's see where we need to tweak. Let's do, here's an opportunity where we can pull together and provide some additional value. Of course, you can't do that for free 99. However, this is the start. This is the step. And if we put together the association as a member in the association, these would be the types of things that you could get, because membership matters. Membership matters. So cool. All right. Any other thoughts, issues? We out here early today.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it all comes down to confidence and networking.
I agree.
That's, I mean, if I had to really sum it up, because you have to have the confidence in order to convey it. You have to let people know that I know what I'm talking about.
And in this particular field, definitely. So not necessarily the confidence in or definitely have the confidence in getting the position, but when you get into those waters and you got gatekeepers and you got, as we mentioned earlier, providers and organizations that want to test your knowledge and test, what it is that no, you have to be confident and stand firm on what you know. Stand firm on the ethics that you're bringing to the table. Stand firm on the information and the guidance that lead you to discern that this should be this and that should be that. Yes. So yeah, that confidence needs to come shining through.
Because what I have found very interesting since I have been in CDI is people. Okay, we always they really stress compliant queries and blah blah blah, but they don't really stress, because what I have realized is the most important part of the query is how you pose your question.
Mm-hmm.
And I have learned over the past almost 6 months that you have to you have to use the information that's documented to ask the question to get the response you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found, because I've seen I've seen situations where somebody asked a question, but the question didn't really, and because the providers are only going to pick from what you give them. They're
exactly.
not going to freehand and go into the long list. Agree. No. They're going to keep it simple because they got stuff to do.
They got stuff to do. They on production.
So the question that was asked didn't really provide full clarification of the situation, and so you really didn't have. I mean, it was enough to get through, but it really could have been more. It could have been, there was more of an opportunity to really get, because I'll just tell you briefly, it was anemia, and it was documented that it was possibly due to medication,
Mm-hmm.
not cancer, but medication.
Mm-hmm.
So if the question had been, if the option had been given, anemia due to medication, then that could have been an adverse effect. You could have had an option, but when you don't ask that question, you can't get that response. Because they're not going to write it in. They're not going to freehand it and say, well, it was due to the medication. But if you give them an option, they might pick it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They said it definitely having the crafty coder, having confidence and black and white will make sure you're always on point. The healthcare business consultant definitely have to know what you're talking about. I think that she probably said talking about, and it has to make sense as well. Just completely agree with the healthcare business consultant. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Well, this was good. Thank you, Mr. Jesse. He came shining through. Y'all know how he does.
And I'm gonna send you the link to Career Plug so people can look at those.
Okay, and I will definitely put the link in the description box, so as a resource for this particular for this session, so you can always go out there and get some. And if you miss some of those that hot tea that he spilled, make sure you go back and take a listen. He gave you, a couple scripts. He gave you a couple of talking points and all of the things right here on our show today. This was great. This was great. Just having a conversation last week, he was like, you know what? People don't do right in these interviews, and we need to educate. We need to provide the information. And I said, hey, this will be it. This will be it. All right. All right. Well, for the good of the order, let's see. Let's see. I'm not seeing any additional questions, comments.
No, me either.
What's going on in the world today? Did you see that the Utah thing went down? What happened to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So was that somebody jumped the gun there, or?
Well, no, I thought that it was they got full practice authority.
Did they? Okay, I saw it on the thing, but then it went down, and I didn't have enough because I was like, well, wait a minute, I was gonna bring it up, but I was like, it went down, so maybe something didn't happen. Let me research. You know me, I gotta research stuff. Let me research before I say. But yeah, we saw something that said Utah was one of the states that now have full practice authority for their nurse practitioner. So we'll get some more information on that and definitely celebrate because we're closing in, y'all. We're closing in. Thank you, Crafty Coder. Great show per usual. Again.
Yeah, it's still up. It says Utah becomes 27th state to adopt full practice authority.
You got it from the nurses authority or from the thing. I went back to that link and it was telling me it was gone.
I just went to clinical advisor.
Okay.
I can send you the link.
Okay. Okay. Well, give me, you know me, give me some for real.
That number is expanding.
It's expanded. I'm excited for them. I need to reach out. I have a nurse practitioner friend that I used to collaborate with years ago, and this has been her thing and her fight forever, even within her organization. And I just want to touch base with her and see how is it going, and is she involved in our state fight for full practice authority. I'm sure she is, but just checking on her and touching base with her. That's what's up.
If I could be a fly on the wall to hear what they're talking about on these golf courses, these doctors are hot.
Hotter than hot. Hotter than hot. Oh, goodness. Yes. All righty. All right.
You're not going to mess with my money.
Oh, thank you, Tasha. Yes, she said she really liked the compliance piece I did. Thank you so much. Yes, that was, I had some conversation, people wondering about compliance plans. And so I put my latest video is about compliance plans and the reasons why your providers need them. And if they don't have them, what they need to do. Well, one, they can call me, I'll hook them up. But compliance plans are a necessity and the reasons why they need them. So if you're out here in these streets hanging shingles for services, even as a full practice authority nurse practitioner, you need to have a compliance plan. That compliance plan will protect you in so many ways. And so you need to have somebody who is well-versed in compliance. It's one thing to be your biller. It's one thing to be your coder. It's a little something, a little extra cream on top to have somebody that is also well-versed in regulations and protecting you for compliance. Yes, yes. I love compliance. I do too. Come on. Can't wait. Love compliance. Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Well, looks like we are at the top of the hour. Or close to it. Thank you all again for joining the Saturday morning tea. Again, was the tea spilled today? I swear y'all got some extra hot tea today. Somebody might have got burnt. If this information was valuable for you, help us share the message by liking the video, sharing the video, and subscribing to our channels. I personally have a goal of, I said 10,000. I'm gonna do a stretch goal, 20,000 by the end of the year. So let folks know we're here. Let your grandmama know who watch YouTube videos. They could just be a subscriber. Anybody, everybody's out here watching these YouTube videos. They can subscribe for free. There's no no price in subscribing. So tell folks about us. You can also check out the Coding Nurse channel on YouTube. Were you able to simultaneous do?
I saw the option. I'm like, what's this? Stream this to your audience. But
Yes.
I was like, I would want to play around with it to make sure I don't mess up because I've been in.
Well, we're gonna have to do a walkthrough
Yeah.
in the back room. Be like, what in the world did I do?
Exactly.
All right. So, well, that's cool. That's cool. I think this will bring some engagement and bring some eyes over to your channel as well. Last but certainly not least, to my Clubhouse folks, click on the greenhouse to join in the fun in our club, and you will get notified of our live broadcast, which happens every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have additional topics or things that you want to have us bring to the Saturday morning tea, DM us or inbox us or all of the things. Let us know and we will definitely do that. Or if there's something that you particularly want to speak with, we would love to have you come on into the room. Come on in the room and we can have a conversation. So reach out and let us know. Again, this has and we will have our the healthcare business consultant who will be our guest next week. She has some things that she wants to talk about and some programs that are tied to that. So make sure you join us next Saturday. So this has been a great session. Mr. Jesse, do you have any closing thoughts or closing words?
As always, I just thank you for creating this space and for keeping this space real and really being of service to the HIM community.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. You are welcome. So again, thank you all for joining. And remember, be safe, be kind, and don't wish for it, work for it. Until next time, take care.